You get to decide. You 100% get to decide. Welcome to Patty's World, where we talk everything manifestation, mindset, and creating the life of your dreams because you're absolutely worthy. Here's the thing with law. I'm just making sure my mic is on. Okay, it is. Here's the thing with law of assumption, the beauty of it, and what really transformed things for me in my mind and in my life is that I was able to take my power back. Before I understood these spiritual universal laws, first it was law of attraction, but then law of assumption, I was externalizing everything and operating in the world of the five senses. So I was walking around in my life as a victim, as if life was happening to me. And when I moved beyond the world of the five senses, understanding these universal principles, specifically law of assumption, then it gave me the power. I was able to take my power back and decide what is true for me. That everything was just a reflection of my consciousness, of my beliefs and my assumptions. And by changing myself and going within, I was able to transform and alchemize situations outside of me, my relationships, my quality of life, and everything that I was experiencing in my 3D world. And Einstein has a quote that says, the most important decision you're going to make, and I'm paraphrasing here, is to decide whether you live in a friendly universe or in a hostile universe, because both can be true, but it all depends on your perception and your belief. And so we could look at things through our own lens and approach life in that way, or we can say no longer and approach life through a different lens, through a more positive lens, through the assumption and belief that everything works out in my favor. The lens of negativity, the lens of nothing works out for me, I'm a victim, no one likes me, no one approves of me, I'm never chosen, I'm always poor, I'm always broke, whatever limiting negative beliefs you've been holding on to. And you have to decide and figure out what those are for you. Or you can approach it from the lens of everything works out for me, everything always works out for me, I am favored, I am chosen. I am loved. It is safe to be me. I am deserving of a great life and I get everything I want. And I am divinely protected, divinely covered, and I am favored because I am connected to source. And by sheer virtue that I'm alive and I'm here and I'm doing this video, I have purpose, I have worth, and there is a reason for me to exist. Just like you who are watching this video, you have purpose and you have worthiness by sheer virtue that you exist. You have sheer inherent worthiness and purpose in your life. And when we harness the power of source, God within you, the all-in-one power, higher intelligence that exists within us, we are able to transform our lives and understand and really step onto that worthiness that we inherently have within us. But first, here's the key. You have to believe it for yourself. Because I can tell you all day long, but if you don't believe it for yourself and assume it real and true for yourself, you're not going to experience it in your world. And that was the big shift and aha moment that I had in my own life. Understanding that I had value and I had worth, because I was a constant people pleaser and I grew up. I shared a little bit of this in my TikTok. I don't like to live in the past, nor do I dwell in the past, but I grew up in, my dad was a chronic alcoholic and I grew up in a very violent, unstable home. And so I repeated a lot of those patterns until I stumbled upon this. And I did go to therapy, but it was really the spiritual universal laws that helped me to transform myself and release a lot of the past and make peace with it and harness it, transmute it, alchemize it into power, and to understand that everything I have survived and that everything I've gone through is a powerful experience of survival, of strength, of courage, because I overcame. I learned lessons. I'm stronger. I'm wiser. I'm better for it. And I can share those experiences with others so they can apply them in their own lives. And that's how we're of service. We're able to give back through our own story of courage, our own hero's journey, which we all go through, and we all have that story. So, whatever you're going through today, right now, know that it showed up in your life for a reason. And here's a question I want you to ask, no matter what situation you're going through. Hear this very important question. Ask yourself and go within, and always go within and ask yourself. And I'm approaching this through law of assumption. What about me aligned with this? And when we take a deep personal responsibility for everything that shows up in our life and we ask, what about me aligned with this, created this, and we're able to look at our beliefs and our assumptions about ourselves and overcome those and change those and transcend those, then we're able to transform our lives. And so now when I'm going through something, and especially a pattern, if you keep going through the same thing over and over and over in different people, different situations, you have a pattern. And there is a limiting belief attached to that. And until you take ownership of it and look at it and say, I'm no longer identifying with this limiting belief, I can choose to step into a new version of myself. I can decide right now and transform it, then that's when you're able to overcome. You don't have to stay in the reality of old versions of you, those old identities where we were victims of our circumstances, where people did things to us. We can take our power back and choose what we align with. But the transformation starts in our minds by telling yourself and affirming until it imprints in your mind. I am worthy, I am chosen, I am deserving, I am loved. Everything works out for me. And at first it may feel unnatural, but imprint it and believe it. And I heard this today because I do my own training and I'm working with my own coach. Hello again. So I had to come back and record the second part of this video because the audio went out. So here's a point that I was making about me working with my own coach and in the conversations that I was having with her is that anytime we're shifting or we're changing our mind or changing beliefs and thoughts, they don't feel natural. So when you start telling yourself, I'm worthy, I'm chosen, I love myself, everything works out for me, the affirmations or affirming new beliefs about yourself, they will feel unnatural because you've been operating by default on that old programming and your ego will want to take you back there. But I want you to think about this. When you learned how to tie your shoe, it didn't feel natural at first. Now you do it automatically. You don't have to think about it. It's second nature to you. When you learned how to drive, you really had to focus and think about it. And it didn't feel natural how to turn on the car, how to look both ways, how to turn. And now I bet you can do several things at once while you're driving because all of those commands imprinted on your mind. They feel natural to you. All it was practice, repetition, and letting those new beliefs, those new ideas, those new thoughts imprint on your subconscious mind. It really is the same approach. It's the same concept. Anytime you learn something new or you're approaching something new or you're changing your mind about something and implementing new thoughts and new beliefs, your mind is going to want to be like, whoa, hold on, wait. But you do it over and over until it imprints. You push through that resistance, those beliefs, because you can believe different. You get to decide. Once you understand this, that you get to decide who you are. You tell yourself you're worthy and believe you're worthy and embody worthiness. When you embody it from within and believe it first in your mind, your outer world will reflect it. That's the difference between living and operating in the world of the five senses and operating in the spiritual universal laws where everything is energy and everything is reflecting you. So when you think about life as a mirror and what your life is showing you, then you can always go back within and ask yourself, okay, so what am I believing about myself? What am I thinking about myself? And what do I need to change? That I'm not supported, that I'm not loved, that I'm not uplifted, that I can't trust people? Well, I simply affirm the opposite and tell myself, I only have healthy relationships. I'm only surrounded by people who love me and uplift me. I have loyal people surrounding me. I am at peace with myself and with everyone around me. I live in a peaceful world. And that is what I look for. And that is what I focus on. And that is what I align with. I set those intentions. But it really is commanding my mind to believe new things. You have to brainwash yourself into believing new things. And when you operate that, and once you learn how to direct your thoughts in your mind and your beliefs, it changes everything. It's a game changer because your external world will reflect it and you align with everything. It's like magic. You can think about something and it shows up. In the beginning, it feels different because it's, like I said, it's a deeply profound, different way of thinking, radical different way of thinking. But when you understand these spiritual laws, especially the law of assumption, which really changed everything for me, was stepping into the version of me that wants the ideal situation, that wants the ideal life. Well, who would the ideal version of me be? Someone who is confident with herself, who's secure within herself, who feels safe within herself, that is not looking for external approval, that is not looking for external validation, that is not moved by what happens outside of her, that isn't shaken. She is firm and anchored in who she is. Someone who is surrounded by people who love her and support her, someone who is successful, someone who loves herself, who doesn't abandon herself, who respects herself. And every day I step into that person, I envision myself as that person, and that is who I am because I say that is who I am. And so, what I would tell you is get clear about who the ideal version of you is. Write it down. What traits would that person embody? And then see yourself as that person. Create images of that person in your mind. The person, but it's not just the traits, the physical traits, but also the quality of life, the car, the relationship, the money. Create the images in your mind, believe them, live from them, and ignore the world of your 3D. You have to first create those images in your mind, those movie scenes in your mind, and then watch as how your external reality conforms to whatever you're believing and assuming about yourself. It happens. It is law. Test it. You can do it with scripting. Some people like vision boards because they're more visual. There's different ways to do this, but anything that puts you in the state of already having and being. You already have it. You already are. You step into the state right now. We only have the present, and your external world conforms. That's how it works. It feels unnatural and unreal at first, but then it'll become like second nature, just like driving or tying your shoes or whatever new thing you learn to do, whatever new skill you learn to master, then it'll become second nature. And once you have awareness about things that you think, oh, this is a limiting belief, then it becomes so much more easier to change it and shift it. I promise you. Practice that. Let me know how it works for you. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. Thank you for following me. Don't forget to subscribe and share. And if there's anything else you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. Thank you for following me here on Patty's World. We'll see you on the next one.